This is how to write effective email marketing campaigns that work for any situation. And this event is brought to you by SCORE Orlando. So on behalf of SCORE Orlando, a big welcome to you, no matter where you are in the country or on the planet. I know we have an international audience. So for those of you who are in the Orlando area and you are familiar with SCORE, this will be an event that's probably something very similar to what you're accustomed to attending, except because of the COVID-19 situation, we're doing it online. This is social distancing at its finest. If you're not familiar with SCORE, I want to just give you a couple of minutes about that. SCORE is an organization that's a resource partner of the Small Business Administration. And if you're in the US, you know the SBA has been working diligently to try to ensure that businesses don't lose their footing during the course of this pandemic. And SCORE, as a partner of the SBA, is a place that you can go for small business advice, and there's no charge. It's a nonprofit volunteer organization that's dedicated to helping America's small business. There are over 13,000 experienced volunteer counselors nationwide. There are well over 300 chapters. There are actually about 25 in the state of Florida. So when you have a chance, not now, but after this event, go to score.org. And if you're in the Orlando area, go to orlando.score.org. The Orlando office has about 55 volunteers and some part-time administrators as well. And it's a fabulous bunch. I have been associated with SCORE for quite a few years. I teach classes like this, usually in a classroom, but as I mentioned, we're doing these online, at least for now. And so I've been partnering with the Orlando SCORE chapter for quite a while. I've been partnering with the Mid-Florida SCORE chapter. I've done an event for the Central Florida chapter, which is in Lakeland. I've done events for Citrus County SCORE, and I'm about to start doing events for Miami SCORE. So SCORE is near and dear to me. They are really good people who do everything they can to help small businesses. The average business experience is 25 to 30 years per SCORE mentor. And they're both corporate and entrepreneurial people. And by the way, especially now, email mentoring is available for anyone, anywhere. It's free one-to-one counseling. It's confidential. As I mentioned, these are people with lots of experience. The business seminars are at very low cost. Typically, a session like this would have a very nominal fee. We're doing them free of charge as people are struggling just to get their footing right now. And there are tools and templates and resources available online. So if you'd like the local SCORE website, it's orlando.score.org. And the national website is score.org. And the Orlando area phone number is listed on screen. You can also connect with SCORE on Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn. All right, so if you are ready, let's get going. As I'm sure you can imagine, there is a lot of competition in your email inbox and in your customers' email inbox. And not long ago, I saw this on a screen. Check this out. Almost 33,900 emails when the screenshot was taken. And just a few days before, there were only 32,000. So I don't know, maybe this person was trying to see if Gmail has some sort of a limit. But all jokes aside, this just goes to show how much email is sent every day. So there's certainly a lot of competition in the inbox. In 2016, it was estimated that there were 205 billion emails sent on a daily basis. And that number is expected to surpass 250 billion in 2020. There were 240 billion just last year. So we're talking about this today because your emails should be able to compete with all of this noise that's happening. You want to be able to write emails that provide value to your audience so they actually open them, unlike many people who just seem to ignore them if they aren't of interest. Let me just check a setting here. Okay, the setting is good. We're good to go. So listen, I want to make sure that you get the most out of this event. So be sure to ask questions and add your comments. Now, all of this stuff may seem intimidating, so I'm going to help you learn exactly how you can get more out of your email campaigns. What I'm going to teach you over the next 90 minutes or so is how to write effective marketing emails for any situation that actually do get opened. Now, also, I'd like you to use the Q&A box to let me know the struggles that you're having with marketing. It can be just about any topic. Go ahead and ask questions. I'll be keeping my eye on the question box and the chat box. And once again, if you just joined us, if you're not sure where the Q&A and chat boxes are, if you're new to Zoom, move your mouse to the bottom of the screen. That'll reveal the toolbar, which shows you where Q&A and chat and raising your hand are located. And on that note, raise your hand if you can hear me well. Go ahead and do that. Let me make sure you all can do that. Looks like we got Sam and Diane and Jordan and Michael and Analia and Tina and Jessica. Jordan, good. Ruth, Hannah. Okay, you got it. We got a smart audience here. This is awesome. All right, so look, for a lot of people, writing an email can seem like a daunting task. Maybe you don't know what to send. Maybe you feel it takes too long to write an email. Maybe you're not a good writer. Or maybe you're someone who's been doing email for a while and you're just trying to get your emails written in a way to get people to open and take action. Listen, you want to write your email in a way that tells a story and builds a connection with your customers or supporters. And no matter what you feel when you sit down to write an email, I've got you covered. That's why I've put together this webinar to help you write great emails that actually help your business or your nonprofit. I've got some ideas I'm going to share with you that will hopefully make this whole process easy for you. So here's what I'll cover during this session. I'll talk about the different types of emails that you'll want to think about in your strategy. And then I'll share a simple formula for writing any email. And then finally, I'll share additional tips for writing those emails. Okay, so are you ready? Okay, here we go. So you might be asking, what should I send? So before we dive into the details, I want to share a few common questions that I always get when it comes to writing emails. First is, what to send? It's important to understand that your email marketing strategy should include a variety of different emails and content. At a high level, you'll want to include both promotional and informational emails. Now, no one wants to be sold all of the time. And if you're a nonprofit, it's hard for people to be donating all the time. Promotional emails typically have an end date associated with them, and you encourage your readers to take a specific action before that end date. The call to action for a promotional email may include registering for an event, redeeming a coupon, or making a purchase or a donation. An informational email is less sales-driven and more focused on building relationships and providing value to your subscribers. Here, your call to action will drive people to your valuable content. It may include watching an educational video. It may be downloading an ebook It may be viewing a list of product testimonials or simply reading more about your topic. And you might even marry the two types together by providing some helpful or valuable information that entices them to make a purchase. And this brings up another question about how much each of these types of, what goes into each of these emails. And this is where I want to introduce the rule of thumb for the 80-20 rule. I know you've heard about it. In the case of email marketing and email campaigns, you want to provide about 80% helpful or valuable content that helps people know, like, and trust you. And then 20% promotional content. Okay, so it's the 80-20 rule. And that way, when you do need to ask people for a donation, or when you're looking for someone to purchase, they'll be much more likely to do it. And this rule will help you as you're planning your email content to ensure you have enough variety. So if there's any note you're going to write down for yourself right now, it's 80-20 rule. And let me also say that email and all marketing is about cultivating a relationship with your clients, contacts, customers, volunteers, donors. You're building a relationship to encourage them to take action. Once again, nobody wants to be sold all the time. So along with all of this comes up a common question that people do ask all the time. How often should I be sending? So think about this. If you sign up for daily email tips, how often are you expecting me to email you? If you signed up to be emailed twice a month, how often are you expecting me to email you? In short, it's all about the expectations that you set with your subscribers right when they sign up. Now, there are times you may deviate from those expectations, but that's often due to special circumstances where you let them know they'll receive more information or emails. I'll give you a quick example. I always send out a newsletter every Monday, typically Monday morning, late morning maybe. But when this whole coronavirus thing started, and I decided that I would do daily webinars, 30 minutes long, to help people understand how to do marketing, because so many of us have taken marketing for granted. So I sent out daily emails, literally, every morning to say, here's what today's webinar will be about. I hope you'll join me. And actually, there are quite a few people on this webinar that have joined me almost every single day, because every day it was a different topic. And so that's where I got away from the weekly newsletter and went to a daily routine for about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. And so, by the way, if you're here because of Score's emails and at some point you unsubscribed from my list, that means the only way you'll hear from me is through Score or something else. So you might want to actually resubscribe to my list. You'll have to go to my website to do that. Okay, I can't resubscribe you. All right, so let's use an example. You might ask someone to click on a link to find out more about a topic. And when they click, they could receive automated emails with more information and encouraging them to take further action. So in a circumstance like this example, they're still controlling the engagement and basically saying yes to other emails. There is not a one-size-fits-all rule for how often you should send. But if you're looking for a minimum, I'd suggest at least once a month. That's enough to at least keep your business top of mind so people don't forget about you. Hey, in one study by Marketing Sherpa, they found that over 60% of customers prefer to receive emails from brands at least weekly. So use your discretion, test it, and even ask your subscribers what they prefer, because you will likely have a group that doesn't want to be contacted very often and others that do. And that's where segmenting your list and targeting your list is going to play a role. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later. So answer the question that is specific to your business and goals and the expectations you set with your subscribers. Hey, my name is Countess. I've got 40 years experience as a marketer, and I'm in my 20th year helping businesses of all sizes grow. And before starting the Countess Group, I was a senior marketing executive at 3 Fortune 50 companies, Marriott, Motorola, and CVS Caremark. The Countess Group turns 19 years old tomorrow, actually. We're in our 20th year right now. And what we do is we help businesses like yours gain an unfair advantage over your competition with targeted marketing. And I mentioned I've been doing this for 40 years, helping businesses like yours with targeted marketing, lead generation, PR, communications, marketing automation, and more. So let's talk about the different types of emails that you should be sending. The first, I want to talk about some of the automated emails that are going to be helpful for your business or your organization. In most cases, a welcome email that sends right away will be beneficial. You can welcome people to your list and your business. You don't want people to sign up and then not hear from you for weeks, as they may just forget about you. A welcome email is great to fulfill an offer if you entice people to sign up with a free resource or a discount. And if you want to take that welcome email a step further, you can create a full series of emails that introduces people to your business over a period of time after signing up. For a welcome series, you could simply add a second email where you ask them to connect with you on social media. And that might mean asking them to either connect on social or give you a call to make sure that they get set up on the right track. So if you're new to my list, give me a call. Let me hear from you. The second type of automated email is the birthday email, which is going to be great to make your audience feel special. You can simply let people know that you're paying attention and that you care. Depending on your business, you can also include a coupon or a special offer to use on their birthday. A birthday email can be used actually for any type of business. And then the third type of automated email you can include in your strategy is the anniversary email. Now, of course, it's great for wedding anniversaries, but it doesn't have to be just for that. If you're a realtor, it could be a home buyer anniversary or celebrate each year in their home. If you're a nonprofit, it could be to celebrate a pet's adoption every year. And because it sends every year on or before the contact's anniversary, whatever that anniversary happens to be, maybe it could be used as a membership anniversary or even a renewal reminder if you offer yearly packages. These types of emails are important to help you stay top of mind with your readers without a lot of effort from you. You can really just set it up and get back to focusing on the other things for your business. And by the way, birthday and anniversary emails are now available in the email package from Constant Contact. So everybody has access to them. It used to be reserved for the Email Plus package. So for now, let's move on to talk about some of the other types of emails you'll want to consider sending. One of the most common types of emails that small businesses think about is offers and promotions. They're pretty straightforward, so you can choose to promote whatever you need. And for these types of emails, you're directly asking people to do something that affects your bottom line. You might offer a coupon or a discount, promote a product or service that you offer, provide a free resource, or ask them to book a consultation. Now, for nonprofits, think about promotions as your fundraising campaigns or asking for volunteers. Just make sure to include instructions to get the resource or redeem a coupon or offer, and include an end date for your promotions. That's really important. Now, raise your hand if you are already running events, or you typically, outside of the shelter at home thing, how many of you out there, raise your hand, are running events for your business or organization? Go ahead and raise your hand. I see a couple of them have gone up. There's Jordan and Alberto. Who else? Okay, so listen, there are several of you. No matter what type of event you have, not only can you promote your event and encourage registrations, but you can also send save the date emails to give people a heads up about your event, or maybe a heads up about an upcoming sale. That's another way to do something around an event. And then, of course, you can send reminder emails. You can remind people to register and remind registrants when the event date is close so they don't forget. Now, event follow-ups are also a great option here as well. And you can use them in a couple of different ways. You can thank your event attendees and send them any follow-up information. I'll be sending you a thank you for attending this event email too. They can be used to send to non-attendees also, to show them how great your event was and to hopefully encourage them to attend your next event. And depending on the type of event, your content can vary for these types of emails. So if you have a list of speakers at your event, you can include their biographies or credentials or details that pertain to your event. You can also use email to celebrate holidays with your audience. Whether you want to celebrate a more formal holiday, like Valentine's Day, if you call that formal, or have some fun with holidays like National Donut Day, this type of email content is a great way to engage your readers. Constant Contact has put together campaign ideas for different industries, as well as the types of holidays you'll want to think about for your specific industry. This makes it super easy to get an email out in a very, very short amount of time. They're already built for you. All you need to do is add your logo and your contact info. And by the way, you can also include some helpful how-to emails in your strategy. These emails are going to vary, of course, based on the type of business or organization you have. Essentially, you want to provide helpful information that helps people get started, maintain, and effectively use your products or services. And that means sharing step-by-step instructions or videos, do-it-yourself information, checklists and guides, and even tips. And even if you don't feel like your business or organization needs to directly provide how-to information for products, think about some related things. For example, a restaurant could send some how-to information for recipes, or even kitchen design or organization tips. Or if you're a nonprofit helping children, you could even send some how-to information like make sure you're spending quality family time with your children or something along those lines. Now, email marketing isn't just a one-way communication channel because you can use it to gain feedback and information about your clients. You want to understand your audience, their needs, their wants, and their experiences with your business. You want to be able to hear from your audience so you can provide more of what they want and need. So one example is that you can send an email to recent customers asking for a review about their experience. And for this type of email, you can also link to your preferred review site. I got a note today asking me to put a Yelp review up for some of our local customers. And so how did they do that? In an email. You can also link to a survey or poll in order to understand your audience better. You can use a survey if you want to ask a series of questions, depending on what you're looking to accomplish. You could potentially ask them about how you can improve your services, get feedback on your website, or even ask people what their interests are in regard to your email communications. That's the type of information that can help you personalize the experience in order to send more targeted email communications. That's something that's going to improve your results. The ideas for creating a dialogue or conversation with your audience really are endless. So use these types of emails in your strategy to prove your trustworthiness and show your email subscribers that you really do care. Remember that I mentioned marketing is really about building a relationship, getting people to know, like, and trust you. And when they do, they're likely to refer you on to people that they know. And that makes them a warm lead for you. Another type of email that you can send is to share behind the scenes information. This is a great way to humanize your business or your organization. You can show real people working behind the scenes, making a product, or helping customers. You might even feature employees and their position and mission with your company. And if you're a nonprofit, you could feature volunteers or even the day-to-day operation of your organization. You could feature behind the scenes of how you provide a service to show your credibility and focus on your clients, or how your product is made to ensure quality. You'll also want to include news in your email communications. For instance, you'll want to share updates that are happening at your company, whether that's changes in office hours, especially now, new menu items if you're a restaurant, or even changes that you are working towards. Keep people in the know, or even changes that are happening at your business specifically, or even get them excited about a change that's coming, like a new product. And don't forget industry news as well. This is where you'll be able to share outside information that supports your mission and what your organization is working toward. Also, think about sharing local happenings. It's always nice to know that a business you support is getting involved in the community. Now, I typically recommend putting one topic in an email, especially if you're trying to drive action. But your organization may find it valuable to send a newsletter that includes a few different topics. If you're going to go this route, I suggest that you first make sure that you segment your audience. For instance, you might have a group of people on your list who would prefer one email a month with multiple topics that you can send to, versus those who don't mind receiving multiple emails every month with one topic per email. Another best practice with a newsletter is to only include 3 topics at most. You really don't want to overwhelm your audience with too much information at one time. I once saw an email that if it was printed, it would have turned out to be 16 pages long. The chances of people reading past the first couple of articles are going to be very, very slim. I know I wasn't going to read that long of an email, and I don't know many people who will. So sticking with no more than 3 topics will keep your emails short enough and easily readable. So think about it this way. When you're creating an email, keep it short and sweet. Most people only spend about 15 seconds on an email, literally. So don't spend a ton of time creating something that nobody will read. Save it for the next email. So this leads into another tip. You want to keep your email short, and allow people to click to read more. So only include a few lines of text for each article, and then include the links so that they can view the full article. So when they click, you'll know that they were interested enough in your email to take an action. One of the great benefits to including the link to the full article is that over time, you'll be able to understand the topics that your audience is most interested in. And that's going to allow you to send more targeted, relevant information. Make sense? All right, so let's talk about how you can easily write your emails. When it comes to writing an email, I always get questions about what's a good length for an email. Your email should be as long as it needs to be in order to get someone to take the action you want them to take. I'll tell you that we found that 20 lines of text, or about 200 words, result in the highest click-through rate for most industries. But I like to say that there are a variety of factors that you'll want to think about. Some emails are, of course, going to be longer than others because of the type of email and what you're trying to accomplish. So take these two emails, for example. In this particular example, the promotion on the left has less text than the one on the right, where they're sharing educational information along with a video. You want to provide just enough information to keep them interested and get them to take the action that's going to be unique to each email campaign. Another example would be if your call to action is bigger and you want someone to RSVP to your event. For some events, your reader is going to probably need more information to make a decision. So in that case, your email might be a little bit longer. Alberto says, the trouble we have is getting a higher click-through rate that leads to monetary donations for our organization. Yeah, totally understand. That may be because the call to action, Alberto, isn't powerful enough. It could be that you're asking too frequently. It could be that you're not sending enough information about your nonprofit for people to be educated enough and motivated enough, and you're not pulling at their heartstrings enough in order to get them to click. Now, if they do click and they're not making a donation, that's good information for you. There's something in there that there was some gap between when they did click through and the fact that they didn't follow through. And depending on what you're using to collect those donations, there is software out there called abandoned cart technology that will allow you to automatically follow up with them. Now, once you know, and thanks for that comment, by the way, and for the rest of you, if you would like to add questions and comments, as you can tell, I am looking at the chat and Q&A boxes. So let me give you a second to move your mouse down to the bottom of the screen and throw in some questions or comments. Let me know what you're thinking so far. And while you're doing that, I'm going to launch another poll. So let me ask you this question, and this is a multiple choice, multiple answer question. What are your email marketing challenges? Tell me which ones. What I want you to know is that once you know what your email content should be about, you can sit down and start to write the actual content. But just remember that all emails follow the same basic formula that includes a supporting picture, a paragraph, and a call to action. But I'm going to help you break down the text to make it easier to write your email. So here we go. The first set of questions is for any of you who are a for-profit business. The first question is, what are you offering? You'll want to answer this question briefly for it to be your headline. You want to pique your readers' interest and make them want to read more, so they open the email. And that leads to the next part, which is your message body. For this, you want to answer, how will it help the reader? And this is where you want to provide details. And remember to keep it short, but provide just enough information to give readers the information they need to be able to take action. And the third question is for the call to action. For this, you want to answer, what should they do next? That's your call to action. So tell them specifically what you want them to do. You might want them to make a purchase, to schedule a consultation, or even get more information. Now, over here, let me move this here. Over here on the right, you can see how that translates for this particular business on their family portrait promotion. In the headline, they're talking about the benefit along with the promotion. And in the message body, they provide details on capturing family moments, when the offer expires, and the details on when they need to schedule in order to take advantage of the offer. Their button asks people to schedule the portrait session and links to an online scheduling tool. How cool is that? Now let's take a look at some other examples. Those same questions were used for different businesses and types of emails. So the first example, for the headline, where they're answering, what are you offering? We can see that they are offering 4 tips to make flowers last longer. Then for how it will help the reader, we can see that they provide the tips and then suggest to try one of those tips with their next order. That leads to the call to action to shop now. Now in this second example, we can see their headline shows the benefit to the reader, which is to boost awareness with a free gift. And then in the body, they provide the details about how content is king and why the reader should care. And that leads into the free guide for the call to action. Now we see something similar in this third example, where the company has done some work with the client's website and providing some next step information. We can see in the body that there are 3 tips that lead into asking the client to log into their dashboard for the call to action. So as you can see, these different types of businesses can use these same 3 questions to write different types of content for their emails, whether they are promotional or informational. Now, these questions will be different for those of you who are nonprofit. So for your headline, you'll want to answer, what are you trying to accomplish? And then in your message body, you'll want to answer, why should the reader care? This is where you want to elaborate on your cause. Alberto, this may be something that'll be helpful for you, and what you're trying to solve, and provide details that explain why they matter to your reader. Then for the call to action, you'll want to answer, how can the reader get involved? You want to invite them to take part in solving the problem and helping your cause. Your call to action could be, feed a hungry child, give clean water, or even something like stop the hate. Often your supporters want to see your progress and how they are helping you make a difference. So you might slightly rephrase these questions to be past tense if you're sharing follow-up information to show what you accomplished. So let's take a look at the example on the right. Here we can see that they wanted to get volunteers, and they let people know that in the headline. And then in the body, they let readers know details about the volunteer opportunity, and then also ask them to fill out a form to fill out as a volunteer on specific dates. Now let's see some other examples on how nonprofits answer the 3 questions with the 4 different types of emails. For the first example of an animal rescue, they answer the "What are you trying to accomplish" by using the headline, "Help us save more animals in need." Pretty straightforward. And then they provide details with the stats to let the reader know why they should care, and encourage people to get involved with a call to action to save a pup. And now for the second example, they're following up to share results from last year. So this is a good instance of where you want to use the past tense version of the same questions. So they answered with the total pounds of food harvested from the community garden. And they provided details that the reader's volunteer time helped to accomplish that. And they included a call to action to keep people interested on the ways that they are preparing for the next year. And now let's take a look at this last one for a donation drive. They're trying to get people to donate. So that's pretty straightforward with the headline, and then providing a list of items that the reader can help with in order to help the children complete their list of community projects. And they've also included a link for people to donate to the cause, even if they don't have any of the listed items. So as you can see, these same nonprofit questions are helpful no matter what type of email you want to send. By the way, as far as the poll goes, let me share the results with you. Here's what you said. Most of you are having trouble getting enough opens. Quite a few say I don't get enough clicks, or I don't have a big list, my emails aren't generating enough sales, or I don't know how often or when to send an email. And this is pretty typical. These are the typical kinds of hierarchies of responses. By the way, for those of you who said, I don't have a big list, it's not about how big your list is. It's about the quality of your list. And for those who are dedicated readers of your emails, ask them to share your email with people they know. That's a great way to grow your list. So with this formula I just gave you, writing your emails is pretty easy when you know what you're going to write about. But if you are still stuck, I want to let you know that you don't have to write it all. I'm going to lower the hands that are still up, and now I'm going to ask you to raise your hand when I ask this question. Do any of you know what I mean when I say the term curate content? If you do, please raise your hand. Sam says, yep, I know. Diane says that. Michael says, yep, I know that too. Awesome. That's what I do. I curate content. I hardly ever write anything at all. And, you know, I'm doing an email newsletter 52 weeks a year. It's hard to come up with new stuff every week. So I curate. Curating content is a great way for you to save time and effort. And so what it is you find existing content online and you share it with your audience to continue providing value. You can find articles and information that relate to your audience or your industry, and you can curate content for your email and even on social media. Basically, look for content that can be helpful to your readers and share it with your own audience. Don't plagiarize. Credit the person who created the content. And there are a few things that you want to keep in mind to curate content effectively. So we can break it down into 3 steps. The first step is to find content that's related to your business and your industry. And there are thousands of new articles that are published every day, truly. So you can stay on top of things with a tool that displays content for different search terms that you choose. There are a couple I use. One that I like is Feedly, feedly.com, because you can easily search for different topics and follow trustworthy sources. You can do a search for keywords and save articles to boards so that they're easy to access when you want to find content for your next email. If you're a yoga studio, for instance, you might search for words related to fitness and nutrition. If you're a business-to-business company who sells industrial equipment to contractors, let's say, you could find content that's relating to the construction industry. Think about news on regulations or even building designs. And if you're an animal shelter, you could curate content on pet care and tips on training a new pet. Maybe you can schedule some time once a week in order to go through the feeds and pick articles that your audience would find interesting. The next step is to offer perspective. When you're sharing it, don't just copy and paste. This is important because it will make the information you're sharing more personal and provide more value. And there really are a few ways to add your perspective. You can ask a question to help engage potential readers to get them thinking, or you could summarize the content and explain the main idea or share a key takeaway, or even highlight a quote. Maybe highlight a quote from the article and share why you think it's a good read for your audience. The third step, this is really important, and I already mentioned it. You've got to give credit to the original author. Sharing their content can be a great way to start a relationship with an influencer or someone who can provide value to your audience. Be sure to mention them wherever and whenever you use their content. Simply provide a link to the original post and share the author's name. By the way, if you're using Constant Contact or you're not using any email service at all, start with Constant Contact because you can easily use something they call the Read More action block to insert information and give credit for your curated content. And then you can add in another text block to add your perspective, depending on how you choose to do that. So at this point, you have a basis for writing your emails and curating content. But there's another very important piece to getting people to open your email. Before people can read your email, they need to open it. This makes sense, right? The subject line is one of the first things your subscribers will see in the inbox. So you have to be able to entice them to open up the email. I like to say that you want to interrupt their day. You've got to do something that makes them say, wow, I've got to open this. I've got to read it. It takes about 100 milliseconds to form an impression of someone. The truth is that your subscribers are forming impressions of your emails just as quickly. You don't have much time to capture readers' attention, so you really do have to make it count. And as much as I'd like to be able to give you all a winning subject line structure that will work, I can't. It's going to vary based on the audience you're targeting, as well as your business and the industry you're in. But what I can do today is I can provide you some tips and suggestions on what to consider in order to get it right for your business and the personality of your brand. So first and foremost, my recommendation is for your subject line to be between 4 and 7 words. And now let's talk about the kinds of things you'll want to consider in order to write a good subject line for your business or your organization. For me personally, I like to write the subject line of the email last, before I send it out, because this allows me to really look at the content of the email so that I can write a subject line that really speaks to what my content is about. This is a very important rule, because you want to make sure you're not writing a subject line that's misleading people just to get them to click and open up the email. So look at your content and think about what you are trying to accomplish with your email. You could potentially pull out a key phrase from the body of the email, or even include something related to your call to action within the subject line. Your email should really focus on the benefit of why the reader should care, or how your email can help the reader. Remember, These are questions that help you write your email's body copy. So make sure your subject line reflects that and helps to show them the benefit to opening up your email. So now let's look at a few types of subject lines you might want to try. One idea is to make your readers laugh with a joke or a pun. For a landscaping company, an example could be, "Calm down, Mother Nature." Another is to try incorporating numbers. Numbers attract attention as our brains are naturally drawn to digits. So try something like 5 tips for perfectly grilled ribs. Another idea is to be inquisitive and ask your readers a question like, "Are your investments working for your business?" You can also try to pull at their heartstrings by using an emotional subject line like, "Take 5 minutes to help animals in need." This is going to be very important for those of you who have nonprofits. However, many for-profits can use this too. Another option is to create a sense of urgency. An example here is, "Last chance, register by Friday," where they are trying to get people to register for a training. You might also want to make your subject lines feel personal by using "you" or "your." Plus, you might want to consider personalizing your subject line with each client's name or contact details to try to catch their attention. That was in the email I sent out yesterday. If you're on my list, you saw that your name was at the end of the subject line. So one example subject line might look something like, "Stephanie, do you love cheese?" Any of these ideas that I've just shared can be adjusted to work for any type of business. So try these different types of subject lines out over time to see what works best for your audience. And now it's also important to think about the pre-header text that will display right below or after your subject line in the inbox. Your subject line and pre-header text should complement each other. A subject line can be short and catchy, whereas your pre-header text is your chance to elaborate, to give a little bit more detail. So for your pre-header text, you can use a variety of strategies from the subject line tips that I just talked about to craft the perfect subject line and pre-header combination to catch your reader's attention. I recommend that your pre-header text stay between 5 and 8 words. And keep in mind that the amount displayed will vary based on each device and even each email program. So at this point, you have a structure and some ideas for writing your email body and email subject line. Diane says Pocket is another one, good one that's free. That would be for curating content. Thank you for that, Diane. So let's move on so we can discuss even more tips for writing a successful email campaign. The first tip is to get personal. And there are several things that are going to play in on this. Probably one of the most common questions or comments I see all the time in webinars is how to increase your opens and clicks. So, first and foremost, you'll want to send targeted, relevant content to your audience because you don't want people to tune out. And that also means you should write as if you're writing to one person. Now, for any of you who like to send an e-blast or email blast, I want to encourage you to stop using those terms. No matter how big your list is, you want to write to help your audience. And this means writing as if you're writing to one person. The next part is to write as though you're having a personal conversation with someone. Think about that one person you're trying to help. Maybe it's that customer who came in the other day and had a question. This will help your content feel more authentic and resonate with other people too. It also means that you're going to want to write using words like you and your within the email body. Now, I did talk about this as helpful in the subject. It also applies to the body of the email as well. And along those same lines, don't be afraid to show your personality. You really don't want to sound like you're a robot. So think about your brand and the personality you want to convey. Some businesses or email marketers have a natural ability to sound witty or even comedic. But if you're not, don't try to force it. In the end, you do want to show that you're a real person that's trying to help out your audience on a more personal level. Another thing I want to suggest is to keep a list of questions that you always get from your clients or customers. These questions do become great content for your emails. You'll be able to proactively answer questions for people before they have to take time to give you a call or look it up. Continually add these questions to your list so you'll always have ideas for content as well. Next, to talk about is using power words or even more bizarre words in order to catch your audience's attention. Use power words to trigger a psychological or emotional response from your email message. By the way, if you have your smartphone or a camera available, go ahead and take a picture of this slide. These are called power words because they can help to persuade your audience. Power words are going to be especially important to think about in your subject line. So try putting them at the beginning so your email will stand out even more in the inbox. And these types of words can also be used to help keep people reading in the body of your email with the headline and the text. Power words typically fall into a few different categories. So here on the screen, I've got 4 different categories. Just note that there are many other categories and power words also that are within those categories. So think about the emotion or the response you're trying to trigger from your audience. And by the way, you can also, for instance, go to Google and search for power words under that category. Among these same lines, look for words that are more unique or maybe bizarre to your audience. These words, especially at the beginning of the subject line, can help your email stand out even more in the inbox. And I can't stress enough how different each of your businesses or organizations are. What may work for one may not work for another. And it's all due to the fact that you have different audiences and you have different products and services, or maybe just operate differently. And this is where you really want to do some testing to find out what works best for your audience. Hey, are any of you familiar with A/B testing? Go ahead and raise your hand using that control panel. Move your mouse down to the bottom of the screen. Sam is familiar. Diane is familiar. Good. Awesome. So there are a few ways that you can go about it and test out different ideas to see what works best for your audience. You could test out a variety of things in your email, including different writing styles. Simply split your list in 2. Make a copy of your email. Just change one variable at a time so you can understand what has the most impact. And directly, by the way, within Constant Contact, you'll also be able to use the A/B testing feature for subject lines. You'll find it on the schedule page if you're in the Email Plus package. Basically, you'll write 2 different subject lines and determine the percentage of your chosen audience who will receive each subject line. A/B testing over a period can help you determine what types of subject lines are opened the most by your audience. Okay, so let's move along and recap. At this point, I've covered quite a few things that'll help you with writing your emails, and I want to go ahead and start to wrap things up. But before I do, I want to recap a few things so that you'll be successful when I close out later on. First and foremost, try to include variety with promotional and informational emails in your strategy. And when you're not sure what to say, curate content that will still provide value and engagement. Also, follow the formula for your type of business or organization. Answer those 3 questions in your headline, body, and on your call to action button. It will save you time and help you make sure you're providing the necessary information for your audience. So let's take a look to remember what they are. If you're a for-profit business, you'll want to answer, what are you offering? How will it help the reader? And what should they do next? And if you're a nonprofit, answer these questions. What are you trying to accomplish? Why should the reader care? And how can the reader get involved? Now, the last thing to remember is to get personal. It starts by sending targeted, relevant information and then writing as if you're writing to one person to make that conversation sound like it was meant for one person. Now, if you're not using email marketing yet, what you need to know is that email is really hard to beat for real marketing value. It still has the highest delivery rate and the highest response rate. In fact, the Direct Marketing Association reports that email remains unbeaten with a return on investment of over $42 to 1. So it really is the best way to reach your clients or your customers or your donors or volunteers. And that allows you to maintain and manage your relationship with them in a huge way. And if you're not really sure about all this, I've got a quick case study for you to see. This is a client of ours that's in Ormond Beach, Florida. This is a business that went from $50,000 a year to $750,000. For 4 years in a row, their sales were just running at 50 grand a year, which, you know, if you're running your business out of your garage or bedroom, that's not bad. Their marketing was limited to AdWords. And I asked them when they came to one of my workshops, I said, how's that going? And they said, AdWords, that's like flushing money down the toilet for us. So then they started using email marketing. And this was their experience.
Hi, I'm Pamela Fay, co-owner of Imprints for Less, founded in 2010. We provide over 1 million products with your logo on them. Everything from bags, pens, cups, anything you can imagine. In our first year, we averaged $50,000 in sales. Business growth was slow in the first 3 years, and in 2013, we started using Constant Contact. With the help of Countess, our business tripled almost immediately. Today, we average over $500,000 in sales annually. Everyone at Imprints for Less would like to thank Constant Contact and Countess. Thanks, Ken.
So that's a pretty amazing success story. I'm sure you'll agree with me. In 2019, they hit $750,000 in sales, and all they use is email marketing. So for them, the return on investment is over 300 to 1. They spend $150 a year on their subscription, and they generate $750,000. That's pretty awesome. So I've got an exclusive offer for you, especially because you attended this SCORE event. You can sign up for a free trial, no strings attached, no credit card needed, nothing like that. And you simply go to completelyfreetrial.com. We'll help you get started. And by the way, if at some point in the past you had a Constant Contact account, maybe it was a trial account and it expired, if you go to this web page, what you'll see at the top is it'll say Constant Contact and the Countess Group. And when you put in your email address, if it says, oh, you've already got an account, well, it probably expired. So you can either do one of two things. Use a different email address and set up that trial account, or contact me and I'll set it up using that email address you used in the past. I have a way to do that. Call it a hack, if you will. But also, if you don't have a website or you're not happy with your website, after the trial, if you become a paid subscriber, I can save you $240 a year with a free website builder. So I mentioned, because you attended this SCORE event, you can save 25% off of Constant Contact for the life of your subscription. It's a pretty awesome deal. What you would do is you would prepay for 6 or 12 months, but call me for details. And there are some other offers up there as well on our website. If you go to thecountessgroup.com or go to thecountessgroup.com/offers, offers is the last button on our homepage, actually on any page. So check it out. So all of your marketing needs you can find in one place. I know marketing can be complicated. I'm here to help you. If you need help with email or websites or logos or social ads or whatever it is that you need, we can help you out. My question for you is, what will your 2020 look like if you don't do anything different than last year? I think I already know the answer to that, simply because of the situation we find ourselves in right now with the coronavirus and COVID. It's difficult now, isn't it? The odds are pretty good that if you don't do anything at all, your results in 2020 will be worse than they were in 2019. But it doesn't have to be that way. Take action. Take action. And I've got 3 action items for you to do this week. It's only Tuesday. You got plenty of time. Number 1, take a look at your marketing. Is it delivering the results that you need to succeed? Number 2, schedule a free consult with me. And number 3, sign up for our webinars and workshops. Hey, in 2020, go big or go home. I think you should go for the gold and go big and let us help you. Hey, you may become our next client to 10x your sales. You can do it. You just have to take action. Now, before we go to Q&A, that's coming in just a second, I have an ask for you, 2 asks for you, actually. And the first one is, we've got a survey. Now, if you've attended a SCORE event in person in the past, or perhaps on a webinar, you have been asked to fill out a survey. So what I'd like you to do is answer this 3-part survey, 3-part poll, and answer these 3 questions. Number 1, how would you rate this webinar? Number 2, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the best, how would you rate the presenter? And then number 3, what other information do you need at this time? And the third one, the what other information do you need, that's a multiple choice question. So what we'd like you to do is provide everything that's relevant. And, I'll leave this up for a moment or two to make sure that you have time to read through the whole thing and answer the questions. So go ahead and answer all 3 and then hit the submit button down at the bottom. I'll just take a look at another screen here so I have a good sense of when people have participated. So far I see just 40% of the people who are on here have actually taken advantage of the poll. So go ahead and make the poll front and center on your screen so that we can get feedback. And the reason for this is we want to be able, as SCORE volunteers, we want to provide information that's great that you can put to work right away. So this feedback is really important. And I want to thank you on behalf of the whole SCORE team for, number 1, attending this evening's event, and number 2, for your participation. It's very, very meaningful. because we want to continue to deliver information that will help you grow your business. That's what this is all about. So I mentioned I had 2 asks for you. This was the first one. And the second ask that I have for you is to please share the emails that I send you. You will be getting an email from me that has a link to a recording of this event so you can replay it and share it with your friends and your colleagues and your family too, if you like. So share my emails, share my social media posts, like my social media pages. If you do that, I would be forever grateful. We're going to run into Q&A next. And if you're not sure where the Q&A box or the chat box might be, go ahead and move your mouse down to the bottom of the screen, and that will reveal both the Q&A and the chat box. So while you're entering in your questions and your comments, I'm presenting right now a link, a photo, a screenshot of our website. That's what it looks like. And that's where you'll find replays of this event. You'll be able to register for upcoming events. You'll get access to free trials. There are 5 different free trials that I have listed up on our website with no credit card needed. You can schedule consultations and so much more. So let me take a look at the Q&A and chat boxes. I'll leave that up for a moment. Thank you all for answering the poll. It looks like everybody did. So we really do appreciate the time you took to attend. All right, so we've got the chat stuff already answered. By the way, if you didn't let me know what city you're joining me from, go ahead and let me know that. We've got folks from Massachusetts and Florida, lots from Florida, someone from London, really awesome. And we've got someone from Canada too. So Diane says, what is my opinion on video emails like co-video or embedding custom videos into Constant Contact? Well, here's the thing about embedding video. First of all, very few email marketing services allow you to literally embed a video. And here's why. Videos tend to be very large. If your video is anything more than a minute, the odds are pretty good, unless you have really compressed it, that it's going to be 10 megabits, 20 megabits. I can tell you the recording for this event is probably going to be 300 megabits. So there's no way that you'd be able to embed that in an email. Number one, the servers wouldn't accept it. Number two, the internet service providers would struggle with it. Number three, the email service providers couldn't possibly handle that volume of data being uploaded and downloaded to their servers. So what winds up happening is, and I'll use Constant Contact as the example here, is what you would do is you would upload a link, you would upload the video rather, to YouTube or Vimeo or Wistia. And once it's uploaded, those services will give you a link. It'll give you a unique URL for that video. What you would then do is you'd open up Constant Contact, and it has a video function, a video block is what they call it. So you would drag that over to your email that you're creating, and then it would prompt you for the URL. You'd put the URL in that little box. It will pull a screenshot and put that triangle, the play button, it'll embed that on top of the screenshot. So it will appear to the person receiving the email that they are receiving the video. What they're actually getting is a link to the video. The good news there is that after they have watched your video, they still have your email right in front of them. I hope that helps. Diane says, do you have a recommendation on a scheduling software to use when scheduling events? Yeah, actually I do. You can find that on our website. Go to the offers tab, and there are a couple of different things that you can use. In terms of setting up events, you could use Constant Contact's event tool. We've been switching back and forth lately between Constant Contact's event tool and Eventbrite. We also use something called VCITA. That's VCITA. You can find an offer for that on our site. But the important thing is that it's a matter of getting accustomed to what it is that you really want to do. So if you're using Eventbrite and Constant Contact, and VCITA for that matter, if it's a paid event, you can have people pay upfront, and then depending on how you structure the fee, you can either have them pay the fee on the admission fee or the ticketing fee, if you will, on top of the price of admission to the event, or you can have it embedded. I hope that answers your question. Diane's got another one. Awesome. Is there a way to remove the About Constant Contact from the bottom of my emails? I did reach out to get the logo removed, but the About is still there. Yeah, there's a reason why they have it there. You might want to call tech support. The reason that it's there is not, you know, if the logo was removed, that's awesome. The About Constant Contact is there as the service provider because that what's embedded in there is the unsubscribe link, which is required by law. So that's the reason it's still there. Let's see. Michael says it's megabytes, not megabits. You're right. Maybe I misspoke. It's megabytes. You know, it's getting late. I've now been working 14 hours today, so it's time for dinner. And time, maybe it's happy hour, who knows. But thank you for that. I do appreciate the correction. Always do. All right, so let me do this while you're thinking about some more questions. I want to encourage you to give me a call. You may think about some other stuff that comes up after we close out during this event. So feel free to call me or text me. I always welcome calls. Once again, my name is Ken Countess, and I'm Managing Director of the Countess Group. As I mentioned earlier, tomorrow is the company's 19th birthday. That's like totally awesome in my book, because most businesses, if you're familiar with small business, 80% of businesses fail within 5 years. So we've ridden through several business cycles already. What we do is we help businesses like yours gain an unfair advantage over your competition. We are a full service marketing consultancy. Just about anything you need to market. You're right, Sam. Woo-hoo. Just about anything you need to market your business, we can help you with. We have a team of over 30 people with over 40 years of marketing experience. And we can coach you and we can do it for you, whatever you choose. What I encourage you to do is take time to absorb and practice what you've seen today. Call me if you have any questions. And as far as this really difficult business downturn, we'll all get through it together by working together. And that's the reason why we're offering these free sessions. That's how we succeed, by putting in the time and energy and offering up our expertise to help others who need some assistance to get their business back on the right footing again. If you haven't already connected with me, please do so on social media. You'll find the word Countess in every name that we use online. So Facebook, we've got 6,000 people following us there. On YouTube, we've got 150 plus videos up on our channel. LinkedIn, there are 5,000 people following me in the first circle. We're on Twitter and Instagram and Pinterest as well. Lois says, congratulations on your anniversary. Appreciate all you do, and especially for SCORE. Hey, Lois, as you know, it's my pleasure to do that. This is what I love to do. And by the way, on that note, every single morning since the middle of March and all the way through to the end of April, I'm doing free 30-minute live events, 11:30 in the morning Eastern time. So I know we have people in other parts of the world with us, so just adjust for your local time zone. Every day it's a different topic. Yesterday was the power of video marketing. This morning it was how to use automation, what the premise is behind automation, you can go to our website and you'll see what we have coming up between now and the end of the month. We do offer playbacks on these, so if you missed some element of this event, you'll be able to see the replay. I'm hopeful that I'll have it posted tonight, but if not, for sure by 8 o'clock in the morning Eastern time tomorrow. So I do encourage you to join me for all of our webinars and sign up at thecountessgroup.com/upcoming events. And once again, this event was brought to you by SCORE. I have SCORE Mid-Florida. It's actually SCORE Orlando. SCORE, once again, is a nonprofit 501c3 organization that relies upon donations to continue its mission. So I hope that the SCORE series has given you added value for your business. And be sure you support SCORE. Even a phone call to SCORE or an email to them to say, hey, can you give me a hand? Or, hey, I'd love to volunteer. They're really great people. I've been working with SCORE for such a long time. If you're not on our mailing list, or if you unsubscribed at some point in the past and you want to get back on it, just go to this URL, bit.ly/score-event. Of course, you can also sign up to be on our mailing list just by going to our website. So let's see, is there anything else here? Let me see if there are any other questions that have come in. Diane says, thank you very much for a very informative presentation. My pleasure, Diane. I'm so glad that all of you have been with me during this entire time. Sam says, thanks, Ken. You're absolutely welcome. Hey, everybody. I'm really delighted that you spent time with us today. And I do look forward to having you attend another one of our events in the near future. SCORE's events, the Countess Group's events, our combined events. Just attend. Let's all work together to help everybody's business grow, and let's get through this difficult time together. We've got a great opportunity ahead of us. And before I sign off, there is one thing I do want to say. I want to bring to your attention one thing that, people ask me a lot. And especially now they're saying, should I be marketing now when everybody's going through a difficult time? And the answer is absolutely. Don't take your foot off the pedal. Be the marketer that you really ought to be. And what that will do for you is keep your business on the radar screen. Oh, you're welcome, Hannah. I really appreciate that comment. So many people right now are taking their foot off the gas, either because they have to, they're not sure what to do, they're tending to the stay-at-home kids because kids are home from school, or whatever. But for you, this is the time to put the pedal to the metal and get your marketing going. And don't be afraid that it's not perfect. There's no such thing as perfect. Done is better than perfect. And this is a good time for you to just keep your business on that radar screen so people know you're out there. Because here's something else that's going on. While people are stuck at home, they're surfing the web all the time. And we all have competitors. And what you don't want them to do is start cultivating a relationship with one of your competitors. So you stay top of mind. You provide the information. You provide the value so that when things open up again, they think of you first and they come to you first. And when you wow them with your amazing service, they're going to love you even more and refer their friends and family to you. So keep up the good work, keep that marketing going, and if you need help, we are here to help you. So from Orlando, Florida, thank you very much for joining me this evening. I look forward to having you attend another event in the near future. Bye for now.